So you're looking for a quick start guide for 3D games in Bevy? Well, you've come to the right place. For those who just want the guide, I'll get straight into that using the Foxtrot template. And then the rest of the video will go into detail about what you actually get using Foxtrot as your template. So let's go in 3, 2, 1. Step 1 is to scroll down on the video to the description. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on your way past. In the description, you'll find a link to a GitHub repository. Clicking that will take you to the Foxtrot template. Next, click Use Template. You're going to create repository, and then give your repository a name, such as Sturdy Tribble. Then click Create Repository from Template. If, for some reason, GitHub is being a menace, like it always is, and not copying across the assets properly, you can always click the code button, and then download a zip version instead of using the template. You can then open the repository in your IDE of choice. I use Visual Studio Code because I am a normie. Simply click Run or type Kogo Run, depending on what plugins you've enabled. This will take a few minutes to compile the first time, in which case you should come back and like this video. Once it is all loaded up, you can simply click play, and you have a basic 3D template that allows you to explore. If you go up to the top, open menu, and go to Foxtrot Dev, you can enable colliders and nav meshes to be rendered in debug mode. Your NPC will follow you around. If you press E on him, you can talk to him. This can be controlled from a simple text file. This quick start template gives you everything you need, such as 3D physics and a player controller for a quick start to 3D games for things such as game jams. I hope this has been helpful, and back to the actual main video. Alright, now that everyone that's just here for the quick start guide has gone, let's get into the topic of this video, the Foxtrot template for Bevy. Foxtrot is a GitHub repo template created by Jan Hohenheim. Hohenheim has collected all the plugins for Bevy that they think are needed to make a 3D game. Although this template is a large step forward in the right direction for most people, it is still not functionally complete and is only intended as a starting point for games, or when time is of essence, such as for game jams. Bevy, being a relatively young game engine, doesn't yet have the built-in functionality that you would expect from a fully fledged 3D game engine like Unity or Unreal. Things such as 3D physics and character controllers are still lacking in Bevy, but thanks to the fantastic Bevy community, there are a bunch of community-made and maintained plugins that add this functionality into your application. And this is where Foxtrot comes in. Hohenheim has gone out of their way to find what they consider to be the essentials of 3D games, compiled them into an easy to set up template, and set up all the configuration that is required in order to get some of the more finicky plugins working out of the box. The first and most crucial aspect of Foxtrot is that it comes with a built-in character controller. Currently, Foxtrot's player controller uses a kinematic sum of forces approach. This allows you to control the player directly by adding the movement force based on the key presses, or you can apply forces based on the character's environment, such as having a wind push the character around or water flowing them downstream. All these forces are summed together and the net calculation is worked out in order to allow the character to move. Things such as a normal force are not calculated, since the physics colliders will simply not allow you to move inside an object, it's therefore simulating normal force themselves. And a maximum speed does not need to be set for the character, since the drag will eventually equal the player's acceleration, resulting in a max speed automatically being determined at runtime, based on the environment. This is a desirable approach, because it means that you end up with emergent characteristics, such as the player running into the wind having a slower max speed than a player running with the wind. Foxtrot has chosen to use the 3D variant of the Bevy Rapier plugin to control all its physics under the hood. Not only is this used to drive the force-based character controller, but it's also at our disposal as game developers in order to get physics into our game. There is also a bunch of other built-in functionality that is relying on the Rapier engine, such as allowing the NPC to follow you at a specified distance, using a sensor collider to determine when the NPC is within an acceptable range of the player, and therefore not pathfinding constantly. Although Bevy has built-in audio functionality, this is not always adequate for your game. The Bevy Cura Audio plugin is a drop-in replacement for Bevy's default audio plugin. One day it may even replace Bevy's default approach to audio, but for now it does require you to do some finicky setup with Bevy's default features in order to allow it to work properly. Foxtrot has built-in pathfinding for characters. This is provided by Oxidized Navigation, which is a newly released Bevy plugin that allows for nav meshes to be generated automatically from Rapier colliders. This means that you don't have to come up with custom nav meshes for your world, since it can dynamically generate them at runtime to decide where is navigable on your map based on colliders marked with nav mesh effector. Foxtrot also comes with Bevy Editor Plz set up for its debug functionality. The Bevy Editor is used in order to allow some basic debug and helpful development functionality to be added to your game. This allows for things such as inspecting the hierarchy and editing components directly attached to entities. Bevy Editor Plz also has the functionality in order for you to create custom windows. This is where Foxtrot uses it, allowing you to access Foxtrot's custom debug window, which allows for things such as enabling and disabling debug rendering, and also loading and saving scenes that you have created. You can access the debug window by pressing Q. Or, if you'd like one that doesn't lose your camera view, you can open the game, go to Open Window, go to Foxtrot Dev, and this will open the editor here. You can then enable colliders and nav meshes as you would like, as well as spawn objects and save and load scenes. Foxtrot also comes with a custom dialogue system that lets you interact with your NPCs. This works by allowing you to specify the NPC's dialogue tree using a file that can load the dialogue. Once this is done and attached to your NPC, you'll be able to go up to them and press E and get a dialogue tree system that has certain flags that can be set so that they have different responses depending on other paths down their dialogue tree that you've taken. Foxtrot also allows you to load scenes using GLTF files. It ties this functionality in with the physics engine and nav meshes by allowing you to specify certain tags in your Blender file so that when you export that as a GLTF and then the game loads it, it will automatically extract and apply appropriate components to that object when it is spawned. This allows you to do things such as specifying square brackets, collider square brackets on the ground, meaning that the ground will get a physics collider when spawned into the world. There are also some other tags available, such as the hidden tag, which will allow an object to spawn in invisible. Foxtrot is also planning to be cross-platform and also compiled to WASM. Currently, the WASM functionality does not operate correctly. This will hopefully be fixed in the future. As mentioned in the Quick Start Guide, if you'd like to start using Foxtrot now, you can find a link to the template in the description. All you need to do to get started is clone the template into your own repository and start working. If you have any trouble or would like something added to the template, you can always open an issue or try your hand at implementing it yourself, and then open a pull request to get your implementation added back into the template. I'm sure Hohenheim would love the help making Bevy's greatest 3D template. Currently, the Foxtrot template is under heavy development and gets updates basically every week. This is great for the fact that new functionality is to be added, but can result in issues arising as things may change unexpectedly, and documentation may end up out of date. As an example, on the "What does this template give you" section, it says that it uses Bevy Path Mesh as its pathfinding. This has since been updated to Oxidized Navigation, but the documentation has fallen behind. Hopefully, as more features get added and the maturity of this template grows, the stability of its documentation will increase. Though this is another great place that if you want to contribute back, you can help by updating documentation and providing pull requests. I hope you've enjoyed the video and have found this very helpful for your journeys in 3D using the Bevy game engine. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe so that you don't miss any of my videos about Bevy in the future.